but it's so that you have more words, more expressions to play around with. 다시 한번 한국어 문장은 요즘 최종 병기활이란 영화가 대박이라고 하던데 저도 꼭 보고 싶네요 라고 돼 있네요. Now how would I translate this? Here's my recommendation. War of the Arrows is a blockbuster movie and I would love to see it myself. 자, War of the Arrows는 영화 타이틀이기 때문에 똑같이 사용했고요. Is a blockbuster movie, is a blockbuster. Now, blockbuster means 크게 성공한 영화 또는 책을 보고 blockbuster라고 할 수 있어요. You could call a blockbuster book or a blockbuster novel. 그거는 정말 크게 히트친 책이라고 하고요. 또 blockbuster movie는 정말 크게 성공한 영화라고 합니다. So, War of the Arrows is a blockbuster movie. And 그리고 I would love to see it myself. 방금 전에 배운 expression이죠. 저도 꼭 보고 싶네요. I would love to see it myself. Again, we're highlighting the word or the pronoun myself today. So repeat after me one last time before we go on. War of the Arrows is a blockbuster movie. And I would love to see it myself. Perfect. I would love to see it myself. Actually, I would love to see it myself as well. And we're ready to move on to our final segment and the final destination for today, which is Celebrity Tweet. Follow me. Now, Celebrity Tweet is, of course, where we take a closer look at a celebrity or just any famous person's tweet. It could be a socialite, it could be an actor, it could be a comedian, you name it. But today's guest of honor actually covers all of these bases because I think he's famous enough to be a socialite. Today's guest of honor is Jim Carrey, since we're talking about his movie in the dialogue today, Mr. Popper's Penguins. And he most recently tweeted, I've always had infinite creative energy, a playful nature, and the courage to be unconventional. But envious people prefer to call me nuts. Now, there's a couple of acronyms or shortened words in there, and the first one I want to highlight is HD, which is had, shortened, you just took out the A, or he took out the A. And of course, the second word, N, or the letter N, it stands for and. And be, of course, or to be, stands for T-O-B-E, to be something, to be unconventional in this case. And envious people, we learned this a couple weeks back or a couple lessons back. People, PPL, stands for people, human beings. And of course, the to appears again, that stands for T-O, call me nuts. Now, to break this sentence down altogether, right, I've always had infinite creative energy. 뭔가 창의적인 에너지가 저는 항상 굉장히 많았어요. And what? A playful nature. 좀 장난치는 거 좋아하는 그런 게 본능적으로 있고요. 또 courage to be unconventional. This means 뭔가 좀 색다른 걸 시도하는 걸 좋아하는 그런 용기. 그거에 대한 용기. 뭔가 다른 거를 시도할 때는 용기가 있어야 되잖아요. 그런 의미에서 courage to be unconventional 이라는 expression을 사용하셨어요. So altogether he says one more time, I've always had infinite creative energy, a playful nature, and the courage to be unconventional. Now you could of course utilize the comma rule in here as well by putting the comma after energy, after nature, and you would have energy, comma, playful nature, comma, and the courage to be unconventional. Now the second part of the sentence he says, but envious people prefer to call me nuts. 하지만 저를 질투하는 사람들은 저보고 미쳤다고 합니다. Call me nuts. That stands for literally when people call me crazy. People call me crazy. It has the same exact meaning. Prefer to call me nuts. Prefer to call me crazy. They mean the exact same thing. So one more time, the entire sentence says, I've always had infinite creative energy, a playful nature, and the courage to be unconventional. But envious people prefer to call me nuts. Prefer to call me nuts. So how would you like to tweet back to Jim Carrey? These days, I even think this. Life is fun if I go a little crazy. Kind of know what you're trying to say. 요즘에는 이런 생각도 합니다. 인생은 살짝 미쳐야 즐겁다. I concur indeed. Your words are wise. Now, the first thing I want to highlight is 요즘에는, these days. You're right. These days. Alright. I even think this. 이런 생각도 합니다. Not that this is wrong, but I have a different recommendation. I have been. Because it's continuing. It's past or present perfect. You're continuing. I have been thinking. Because you're continuing to do so, right? And we could totally connect these sentences together because they go side by side, right? These days I've been thinking that life is fun. Life is fun. 인생은 즐겁다. 어떻게 하면? Well, if you go a little, go crazy. Now this is perfect. But I want to introduce a different recommendation. How about life is more fun? Because you don't want to insinuate that it wasn't fun at all before. Life is more fun if I go a little crazy. If I go a little crazy. So if I go a little crazy, 살짝 미쳐야 즐겁다, that's perfect. But I have a different recommendation as well, although this is correct. How about let loose? Let loose. 정말 편안하게, 아무런 생각도 없이 편안하게 미치다. Let loose. Let loose. So altogether you could say, these days I have been thinking that life is more fun if I let loose.